Welcome back guys to another GT video, and in today's one we're going to be helping out Gerald in there with his last play missions for the career progress. Now, something that you do need to be aware of when you are doing the last play missions is that the list of requirements in tier 4 each mission, it doesn't align with the mission that you do. So the first one that we're going to be doing is bad companies, but it won't actually tick off that we've done that. What it will do is it will tick off that we've done go figure. So excusing the dodgy overlay, but the list of missions on the left hand side will tick off the list of missions on the right hand side. So don't worry too much if what you do doesn't correlate with what's actually been ticked off, providing you get all the pop-ups at the end of each mission that you do in relation to hard mode, snacks and armour, 50% or 80%. Providing you got all three of them at the end of the missions, you'll be good to go. But getting on with this one, and like I said, we are doing bad companies, and it starts off with sending you round the map to take out the Salva henchmen. Now, there are multiple enemies at each of the locations, but providing you take out the henchmen, you don't need to take out the rest of the enemies. Now, this mission itself did cause me a few issues, and I had to go back and do it 3 times to get each of the requirements individually. And the one that I really struggled on was the less than 50% damage, and the only reason I can think that I wasn't awarded it was because my oppressor is listed as my favourite vehicle, and it does regen my health whenever I jump on it, and I don't have full health. So it was very difficult for me just to kind of keep an eye on what my health was doing. All these little individual shots every now and again, they sort of mounted up and tallied up, and it was kind of hidden in part because every time I jumped on the Impressor it would regen it back up to full health, so it was difficult to see. But after working out what was going wrong there, I did actually just take the Karuma round on the last one and brought out my oppressor for this area here, taking out all the enemies rather than sniping them with the missiles, and then just being very careful not to take any shots. And that is probably the best way to deal with this building here. Once you've taken out all the henchmen around the city, you are directed to the building site here where there are multiple enemies that you need to kind of clear out to get the boss. And if you are using your Mark II, you will need to send it away and call it back in just to fill up the missile supply again. But getting back to the mission here, is round about this point I can realise, okay, I'm screwed for the 80%. But as usual, the main thing is concentrating on the hard mode with no snacks or armour, because you can go back in and redo the missions on normal mode once you've completed that one. But as you can see, whichever way that you choose to do it, you can take out the targets from distance quite safely, whether it's with your sniper or your Mark II or Deluxo. And you will have to take out quite a number of these enemies. You need to basically take out just about every single one, especially those ones that are on the same level as the boss before you can get to the boss. As you see here, I do take him out with the sniper, but you are then directed to go and take a photograph of him laying there. So the more enemies you take out, the safer it will be getting in, especially as there are a few enemies on this one that do like to rapid fire. But with that one gone, and there's one round the corner here, take him out. The last thing to do is photograph the body, which is just behind that crate there. And there we have it. All that's left to do now is leave the area. So with the hard mode done, I jumped back in and went for the 80% and the health, but like I said, I was having issues with the health, so I did only manage to get 80% on this run. Now the boss isn't always in the same location. As you see there, I think there's 3 locations that he can be in, so just keep an eye out where he is. But that one does then complete the 80% accuracy requirement, and then I did go back in for the 50% health, or 50% damage I should say. And taking a look at the career progress, you can see that it's actually Go Figure that has been ticked off, although we did do bad companies. And don't worry too much about that, like I was saying, so long as you do get the 3 pop-up notifications for each requirement for the mission you're on. Well, getting back into it, we're on to deal with it, and because of the issues with the oppressor last time, I have called in my hunter. And you can call in any sort of weaponized vehicle. You can call in your tank, it's probably the best thing to use, but I want to try and do it without always default back to the tank. You can call in your Deluxo as well, but as you can see with the hunter, it doesn't run out of missiles, and you can rapid fire the homing missiles as well. With the first part of this mission, you are tasked with searching the crates, but you do need to clear out the space first and take out all the enemies. Once you're down there, you don't need to actually do anything with the crates, just run close to them and they will disappear from the minimap. Now, when you are doing this, you do need to be aware there will be more enemies that spawn in that you'll need to take out. So plenty of cover round about this area just to duck behind while you take out the enemies that do spawn in. I'm going to leave that guy behind there, get the final crate and then get back to the hunter. I'm not sure if I was to take him out whether more enemies would spawn in, so I thought maybe just safer, he's far enough behind me, just leave him be. But then moving on to the second area, you have to search for the buyers. Now if you are doing like myself in a helicopter, once you've found them, just take out the enemies in the area and go low enough to trigger the next part of the mission. After a few seconds you'll have 3 red dots on the minimap that you need to go and take out, and with the hunter it's fairly quick and easy, just flying over and you will naturally target those 3. And once those 3 are taken out, it's just a case of losing the cops and mission passed. And as you can see, first time all 3 requirements ticked off, and if we just double check the career progress, we'll see that it's actually fast peddling that's been ticked off, but we got all 3 requirements. So moving on to fast peddling itself. Now this was in fact my second run through. I did try using the hunter again on this mission, but just with the locations that we go to, it is a bit tight to land it, so you're having to land quite a way away from each of the locations. So decided just to retry it with the Deluxo this time. Now at each of the locations there are a different amount of enemies inside. As you can see there at the cocaine factory I was just in, there was only 1 enemy and it only had a melee weapon. Coming up here to the weed factory, once you've taken out the enemies outside, there will be 2 enemies inside that have melee weapons that run at you, and there will be 1 enemy up the back. Now he does have a weapon, so just take your time going in, but he is right up the back of this warehouse. But once you've taken that enemy out, it's just a case of going and picking up the product and then moving on to the next warehouse. So the next warehouse at the top of the city, it can be a little trickier for getting the enemies as it's quite tight and compact where they are, and they're actually down the alleyways both sides of the building and right at the back of the building. So you do need to kind of manoeuvre yourself into positions where you're able to take them out. Now you may need to send your Deluxo away and call it back in just to replenish the missiles. But once inside this building, there's 2 enemies that have weapons. Fairly easy to take them both out. And saying that, I did miss one of those shots, but in total there are 10 enemies within all 4 buildings. So you can get away with missing 2 shots, taking out all 10 of those enemies, and still get the 80% accuracy requirement. Now this last warehouse here, this is probably the most difficult in terms of the accuracy and maintaining your 50% health. And make things even harder for myself by missing that first shot on the biker. But once you're inside, immediately take cover and you'll get a free shot on that first guy before anybody's alerted. After that, it's just a case of being patient and waiting until the enemies come out into the open. There will be a couple of guards that you can take out while you're still in this position here. Get that one that's running about, and then there is one at the front here just behind a crate. After you've taken those guys out, we need to try and draw out the couple that's up the back. So initially just going to go to the doorway and take cover there, just to try and draw them out so I've got a better angle that I can get them. And this guy obliges and moves over to the side. The ones up the back, however, are not having any of it, so you do need to move inside. But there's plenty of things that you can take cover on. And they do move about quite a bit, although because of the framing of the shelving units, it is quite difficult to try and get a clean shot through. So I did end up moving to draw them out towards me before I could actually take them out. And luckily I did manage to get both of them without taking too much damage to my health. And with that package picked up, that's all 4 done. And all it's left to do is return them back to Gerald at his apartment. And there you have it, guys, another mission passed and all 3 requirements done in the same mission. If we jump in and take a look at the career progress, we'll see that it's actually marked off deal with it. But there you have it, guys. I'll finish the last 3 missions in the next video. If you did enjoy this one, do leave a like, and if you are new here, why not consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.